feeling like I'm Akademiks.
Hold on. We gotta get Armon in here. Armon in here in the building. Armon!
Yes.
Talk to me, brother. Talk to me.
How do I call in? Is this how I call in?
Shit, I mean, you calling in right now? You on the stream? I mean, we can do Discord, but you don't gotta get on Discord. We can do a ghetto. That's good too.
Okay, so yeah, so your deposition was started when we first walked in.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much about. I mean, you really didn't give them much. The only reason why I assumed the Sun Stars because they played two different depots. They played the one, I guess, from July, and I think one in October. Mm-hmm. And I think one where you were saying, like, I would never give up my source. Mm-hmm. And then I think in that same one, you were like, well, and the next month, you were like, I end up eventually giving you guys my source. So they played an audio where you seemingly admitted telling them you gave them your source.
Okay, so all right. So that's why they probably didn't bring me. Oh, okay. I'm glad you're mentioning this. This is actually giving more context of maybe why Milagro's team wants me there, right? Because what they're doing is because I have 8 hours of audio, right? Video and audio. Both of them are video and audio. They're doing the nasty game of let's jumble it up and put it out of order. Now, granted, I believe it's Milagro's team needs to fix that, but I know what they're doing. So this was my argument to the judge when we went to New Jersey's federal judge to deal with the motion to compel, right? And the motion to compel means you're going to compel this. The judge can force you to answer a question if you refuse or you try to use a protection that isn't viable, right? Now, when I went in front of the judge, I told the judge, because the judge says, hey, listen, and by the way, they're using a really nasty tactic. And I hope, I don't know if you like Milagro or which side. It doesn't matter which side when nobody's on. But these are important things that all people that do commentary like us should take note of. The first thing Rock Nation attacked when I was in court with them, remember, I showed up without a lawyer. Really, reason why I'm just not a party to the case. If I was a party to the case, I would have lawyers. The first thing they attacked, they said, Ak mentioned that he's a journalist, and under a journalist privilege, he wouldn't give up a source. Now, within New Jersey, there's something called a shield law, which if you are a media outlet, you have the protection of not giving up those sources. Now, the judge said to me, are you trying to utilize that? Because the first thing Rock Nation wanted to attack, and they did it with Milagro too, they want to say, everybody, you, me, everybody on Twitter, everybody, by the way, I think they would even go with Meg Cunniff, whatever her name is. They would say, y'all are not journalists unless you work for like old school, like New York Times.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying?
Correct.
So that's their thing to say, hey, let's remove any journalistic type of privilege or media type of understanding of their profession out of it. Now,
so you're not covered or you're not backed by the journalism protections. Yes,
exactly. Now, I'll tell you how it's very interesting and odd how it's working out in Florida. I'll tell you how the judge in New Jersey did it with me, and I think he's super fair. That's why I keep saying his name. Shout out to Judge Brendan Dick. The judge said, "Hey, listen, I'm not prepared to make any decision, which I think could be a landmark decision, in saying that a streamer or a online personality that maybe uses Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, or anything else as their main platform of disseminating information cannot be a journalist because media is changing, right?" And the judge said, I won't make a blanket decision on that. What I'll do is I'll evaluate on a per case basis, and let's just think about how Akademiks was covering this trial of Tory. I'll evaluate that to see if he was being a journalist, right? Now, I told the judge, hey, judge, which he had asked me to submit stuff. I didn't submit it. I said, I didn't come here to use that privilege. I'll tell you why. They're saying the privilege that I'm trying to use is preventing me from answering the question. I said, Judge, and the judge said he read all 7 hours of the depot. He read the transcript. I said, Judge, if you look in the 4-hour mark, because I have the transcript as well, and you look in the 7-hour mark, I answered the question twice. So yes, initially I did raise the question. I did raise that privilege, but I then said, hey, since you guys are like really dragging this, I don't recall anyway, right? The judge said to me, okay, my rule is going to be this. I'm going to give them 45 minutes because you initially mentioned that you were using a privilege, and I get it. You feel you answered it, but I because that took up time, I want to give them a chance to ask follow-up questions for that question alone. And since you are not contesting the journalist thing, I will not utilize that law or that protection for you, since basically you're saying I answered the question. This is why it matters. And I know I'm kind of yapping a little bit, but I'm going to get back to that central question of what Rock Nation is doing. That's why they're not calling me, or Meg Thee Stallion's lawyers, why they're not calling me, is that they're jumbling up. They're using jump cuts. They're using me saying, I won't tell y'all. And then they're using in another time saying, I did tell y'all. Right?
Yeah, they definitely used that. They said that you said I eventually gave you guys the source.
Exactly. So they're acting like so they're acting like I supposedly said that the source came from someone in the Peterson Grouper family. That's how they kept referring to them. The Peterson Grouper family, which is absolutely not true. Right? That's what basically saying. So that's a sleight of hand. They're using my depo, but out of context. But here's the thing. Milagro's team should be well-versed on this. They have the same depo. They should come back and correct it to say, hey, the reason why Akademiks is saying he gave y'all the answer already is because initially when asked, like probably around 3 hours or maybe 3 hours or 3 hours and 30 minutes in the first depo, he says, I wouldn't tell y'all. Then in 4 hours, when y'all said y'all paused the depo for 30 minutes to try to get a judge on to do a motion to compel, y'all couldn't get a judge on. Ak literally said to y'all, hey, I don't remember anyway. And
well, they're not going to do that because they're using your name. You, Joe Budden, Aiden Ross, Nicki Minaj, Partisan Fontaine, you guys are being used as a person like you, for instance, 4.5 million followers, Aiden Ross, 6 million followers, Joe Budden, 1 million followers, podcasters. Why are you guys singling out Milagro Grams, who doesn't have 1 million followers on all of her platforms, but yet you guys don't have smoke? They literally said today, Akademiks said things about Milagro Graham, Megan Thee Stallion not being shot and being a liar. You guys didn't say anything about that. Joe Budden went on his platform. Aiden Ross said things. Is that contributing to the trauma? So they're using your platform as a means to say, hey, if you guys are picking on Milagro, why aren't you picking on Akademiks? Why aren't you dragging Aiden Ross? Why aren't you suing Joe Budden? Why are you not throwing Nicki Minaj in the ring? Why are you not saying shit about Partisan Fontaine? Why are you just zeroing in on my client? So you were mentioned several times today. Joe Budden was mentioned several times today. Aiden Ross was mentioned several times today in reference to the fact that you guys have very large platforms, and yet the same smoke is not being sent your guys' direction that they have from Milagro.
That's very interesting. So my understanding, and I want your opinion on this, I guess, right? My understanding was, because I agree, right? Like, I think we all have said, hey, listen, Meg Thee Stallion has lied, because we've heard contradicting things. And I think we all have said, hey, we don't believe Tory did this. I think we all have said those two main fundamental things, right? Now, apart from that, right, like maybe jokes or whatever, maybe some have done more jokes than others, who cares? I've heard that the main thing was this deep fake video, which, I was about to put blanket support behind Milagro at a point, and then people said, well, here's how she differs from you. She tweeted out this fake porn video that's AI, and that was triggering. And I was just like, well, yeah, I guess we've never done that, so maybe that's the basis. Do you what you've heard so far, do you believe that it's mainly based around that, or is it criticisms and commentators saying this chick's a liar, or we just don't believe her?
Well, if you want to know the truth, I think the deep fake is what they got to hook her on, because even the Rock Nation rep that was in there today, he honestly, he didn't know who the fuck Milagro was. Like, he was over here talking about, oh yeah, I heard some things from some articles she's written in the past, and everybody's looking like, so you think Milagro writes articles? She doesn't fucking write articles. So you don't even really know her. So to me, from my opinion, it feels like, this is the thing. Today was the day to prove Megan Thee Stallion's PTSD. So you had T. Ferris up there. He was there to prove that Megan Thee Stallion couldn't even function in her daily life because she was so traumatized by Milagro grams. Then you had Daniel Kinney there saying that pretty much Megan Thee Stallion couldn't even work anymore because of Milagro grams in her, but he didn't even know who the hell she really was for real. And Megan had never said, you know, it was Milagro grams that made me not be able to, you know, work these brand deals. And it also came out that he had found out about who Milagro grams was in 9 months prior, where they were planning on suing her, but they didn't even, so they planned to sue her 9 months prior, and they didn't actually file the suit until like 9 months later. And so that was interesting. So you guys, it came across like they were building a case. Now, yesterday, going back to your original question, yesterday, it was all about, to me, them feeling like Milagro grams didn't believe Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion. However, that's not enough to sue her. So the deep fake video was the bait that caught the fish. We can sue you, but now we're going to attach all of Tory Lanez, because 95% of this is all about Tory Lanez. 5% of this is about the deep fake. The deep fake is what they were able to get on. But the real issue is, you don't believe that she was truly shot by Tory Lanez, and we don't fuck with you.
Hey, by the way,
in that, that's why all you guys are involved, because it's like everybody has said that.
Hey, by the way, I have on here on my screen, and just for your reference, because you might not be watching. November 18th, Megan Cunniff tweets out, Meg Thee Stallion walks into the Miami federal courthouse for the second day of trial in her defamation lawsuit against online commentator. And that video of Meg walking in, the person right next to her is the lawyer I went toe to toe with for 8 hours, because I was in front of her. She's Joanna Manillo from Quinn Emanuel. I gave it a beat.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even lie to you. Like, you know what I mean? Listen.
You didn't really give, your demo was kind of boring, because you didn't really give much up.
This mad juicy shit. You know what's funny? I'm waiting till the end of the trial. Everybody gonna see the whole thing. You feel me? But you're gonna realize there's a part in it, and I think I did play when I first like kind of streamed it. I realized, and it's going back to what you just said before. This woman, Joanna Manillo, she's a employee of a Quinn Emanuel, a firm that represents Rock Nation interests, and also Meg Thee Stallion in this case. There was a point she stopped asking me questions and was debating with me on why I didn't believe Meg Thee Stallion. It was odd to me, because this is a deposition. It was as if she thought she could convince me or debate with me to get me to say, you know what? I'm wrong. And she was debating on me on my actual views. And that's not how a deposition is.
Today in the deposition, they were trying to couple that tweet that you had, which I didn't like. And here's the thing, like, I'm not here to pick a side, but I don't like how I feel like they don't understand social media, or they do, and they're trying to manipulate it. You have a large platform. There's many people like myself, Milagro. You're a credible source majority of the time. So you'll say something, and maybe we will copy and paste the tweet just to post it on our page. So my thing is, they took your tweet, and you know this because they were interviewing you. They were trying to make it seem like you and Milagro planned this breaking news story together, when that's not how social media works. Okay, we got a person that's a larger platform than us. We trust Akademiks. We follow Akademiks. He posted it. All right, I'm going to repost it because I agree with what he's saying, and I'm in line with that, and I'm going to post it to my audience. That I knew that didn't mean that you and Milagro were sitting on the phone saying that you guys are going to post this together. And you were like, I don't know what the fuck she does in her day-to-day. I didn't know that she posted it. Like, but they were trying to make it seem like you guys both conspired together almost to post a breaking news story about the DNA being on the gun. And then when you were like, well, I guess if that's how you want to look at it, that it wasn't accurate, I guess it's true. But it also doesn't mean that it wasn't true. It was inconclusive. So that doesn't mean that it was a lie. And it doesn't mean that it was the truth. So it could go either way. But I didn't like how they were trying to make it seem like you guys plotted that together because you're a bigger platform. So there's going to be times where we might quote you or we might copy something that you say. That doesn't mean that we were on the phone with you planning it. You know what I mean?
And Armon, you're mentioning something that I think, it's a reason why they go at Milagro, right? Because if you have really amazing lawyers up there, they're batting these down and swatting them like flies.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys are trying to use jump clips to say something that the context doesn't say, that the person isn't saying. You're trying to develop proof of a conspiracy by drawing random things from, they have a treasure trove of what they think is evidence, but it's really just chatter, it's fodder. Like, yeah,
they had Milagro has like a Discord, a bunch of different chats. You have a bunch of chats too. Okay. So they have like Tory Lanez source person or XYZ, and these people would message her in regards to Tory or Megan or something like that, and somehow they were trying to associate that with Milagro, and it's like, we know on this end, we get DMs from people with no picture and different names in their titles all the time. You can't associate that with me. That has nothing to fucking do with me. And I'm just like, I just can't ride with that because it's like, it takes all of our power away. And then two, what is the problem if Daystar or Sunstar was the source? It's no difference than TMZ or anyone else. Like, that is part of our business to get exclusive information so that we can relay it to our audience because it builds our credibility and our platform. I don't see there's anything wrong her having sources, and she does not have to believe that Megan Thee Stallion was shot by Tory Lanez, even though I believe he shot her, but she doesn't have to believe that. And I feel like they're punishing her because she doesn't believe that.
Yeah, because she doesn't fall in line. I think they're trying to prove a RICO. They're trying to prove a civil RICO in the sense of a conspiracy that is going to have Tory supposedly puppeteering. Milagro is one of like the top head honchos. And I guess they think myself as well.
But why are they not coming for you, Joe, or Aiden Ross when you guys have said crazy shit too?
You know why? Because I think they know for the most part those lawsuits would most likely get batted down in the same stage that Drake's lawsuit got batted down versus Kendrick, which means it's like, hey, listen, some of this stuff is going to be protected speech. This isn't defamation. Like, two people either slinging mud or two people like saying stuff. Again, she is a public persona. So when she gets to utilize, hey, well, this goes beyond the pale of just commentary and you using your freedom of speech to now you're putting out your intentionally. And I think that's where this case might fall on. How could they prove intent? How are they proving intent?
I don't know, because they had the psycho forensic psychologist there, really? And that diagnosed Megan Thee Stallion with PTSD. However, they had her looking up all of Meg's previous music videos, interviews, documentaries, screenshots of Milagro Grams posting the horse leg next to Tory Lanez chopping up the horse leg. They had her look up that video. However, she knew nothing about Nicki Minaj's Bigfoot, and none of the lyrics in that record, which they broke all the way down. None of Partisan Fontaine. They didn't have her look over any of that information. They didn't have her look over anything you said, Joe Budden said, Aiden Ross. They didn't even know. The lady said she thinks she knew who you were, but she wasn't really sure if you affected Megan Thee Stallion's mental health. She wasn't sure if Joe Budden affected Nicki Minaj. She couldn't call it. She barely knew who Nicki Minaj was. They only sent her Milagro Grams things to research in Tory Lanez. So the forensic psychologist said, well, it was the shooting first and Milagro's internet platform second merged together is what gave Megan Thee Stallion the PTSD. And Milagro's lawyers are like, so nobody else contributed to the PTSD? Did you even hear about everybody else or what everyone else said? And unfortunately, Megan Thee Stallion didn't even mention anybody else or send in any of those materials for the analysts to review, to consider if that had something to do with her trauma. So I thought that was very interesting.
Armon, Meg no showing no goddamn smoke with me. Hey, so I think Meg is about to take the stand tomorrow. I think.
Yeah, she's gonna be there tomorrow. Yeah, she's gonna be there tomorrow. So I'm predicting a cry.
I've heard that tears are. I heard that when they played the deep fake video, she was starting to bat around the eyes already. So I could tell it's gonna be a session tomorrow. If you
well, yesterday she looked like she was gonna slap the shit out of Milagro, because really? Milagro was in there calling her all kind of bitches, and the audio that Milagro station had. So when Megan would hear like, you flat, tough, flabby body ass bitch, your hair, you fucked up ass wigs, your nigger wig wearing ass bitch, and this, that, and the third. And so Megan Thee Stallion kind of looked up and kind of glared at her, and Milagro kind of almost broke into tears because they were saying, well, what if you actually found out that Tory Lanez shot her? Would you feel bad? And Milagro went into the fact that, how her mom has been in and out of jail with drugs and how she has a soft spot for people in jail. And she started breaking down in tears and saying that she really wanted to believe Megan Thee Stallion and she would be the first one to be at bat for her, but she just can't believe her. She just doesn't believe her because she lied, but Megan Thee Stallion was fucking like glaring at her. But before that, Megan was like, she's either super media trained or she's like a fucking robot. She doesn't look around at anybody. She looks past everybody. She's stone cold, stoic. She gives nothing. She's a hard read. And she may give you a little energy on the walk up and the walk out. But other than that, you're getting a stone cold face. Now, T. Ferris, he was there today, so she got a little bit more love. But that was interesting because we found out that they live together in Miami and his name is on the deed, and we're not quite sure if her name is on the deed. Yet it was said that he was a guardian of hers, but he's saying he's not a guardian, but he has financial control, or at least a lot of financial control over her money. And also, he's the one that slightly kind of helped admit her into that therapy center, paying over $240,000. So it's like, okay, so she lives with you. It was stated that you were her guardian. You have a little bit of financial control. What is this relationship for real? Does Megan have a drinking problem? Does she have a mental issue? So that's what Milagro's team was trying to paint today as well. So it's just a lot of shit going on in this case.
I see Megan kind of say that she's not sure if the jury is keeping up with this, and I was thinking for 1 second. I said, I hope I hope Milagro's team is pretty well versed, because a lot of these things, there's very easy counters for. If you put T. Ferris on that stand, I'm now going to introduce the fact that T. Ferris is someone who is seen to be untrustworthy and someone who has supposedly been almost just sucking up to Megan, going with whatever she says, because that's how they got out the last people, which would be Carl Crawford and 1501. Like, I don't know, like, if and I think that's where the research comes in terms of you having a lawyer, because you're going to have to explain everything to them. T. Ferris isn't the person. T. Ferris sounds like a yes man to me. You get what I'm saying? Or like, that's someone who would go with whatever Meg is saying, not an independent person who, could be taken at their word for what they're seeing. And I think if I'm Milagro, I would approve that by saying, well, let's analyze their relationship. Meg was signed to 1501, and then the person that was put as her manager basically convinced her to leave for a play to go to Rock Nation, and they screwed out Cole Crawford out the deal. And when Cole Crawford said he couldn't believe that T. Ferris was the person who was really in that position who would do that, because they had a relationship prior. So how can we trust them? So I don't know what's gonna happen, but what are your thoughts on where you think this is gonna go for the review?
Well, for sure, I've seen two parts of the verdict form, which was that part where they the tweet that they were referencing that you posted today, and Milagro, kind of doubled down on saying that Megan perjured herself on the stand and lied about being shot. Was she guilty about harassing her and saying that and defaming her and saying that Megan lied? I'm sure that's going to be a yes. And then the other one was the deepfake video. I'm sure that's going to be guy. I only seen 2, but I'm hearing there's 8 different counts. But for sure, I don't think Milagro is getting off scot-free because they're at least going to get her on those 2 because she did double down on that, and she also did post the deepfake video. There's no way to get around that. Everything else might be up in there. Milagro's team, they're doing a good job. Milagro is doing a great job on the stand. She did a great job yesterday on the stand. I don't think this is just a kill. But at the same time, and as far as the jurors, they don't give a fuck. Like, they're not interested. They're bored. They're cold. Some of them were on their phone. You know what I mean? The judge had to stop the judge stopped the middle of the fucking trial today and was like, "Hey, if there's any jurors on the phone, can you put your phone up, please?" Nigga had to put his phone up. You know what I mean? He wasn't paying attention.
Oh, they're getting into
it
now, huh?
Yeah, they're not. It's like 2 black people. And then they played this video of Milagro talking about the jurors in the Megan and Tory case. She was talking about, it's this old black nigga and fucked up looking ass nigga, and it's this black bitch, and she look like she finna fall asleep, and it's a Mexican nigga and a white boy and an Asian bitch. And then I look over. Well, because we looked over at the juror and the jury, and every person that she talked about in that trial represented somebody that was there today. That was a chess move. So for every name and every type of person she mentioned that was in the Tory trial, they were sitting in her fucking trial today.
Wow, I would have thought her lawyers would have made sure that was not brought up, because that's kind of prejudicial.
Yeah, the thing is with Milagro, she's super smart, super well spoken in the courtroom, in the trial, and I think her main lawyer is doing his thing. But it's when they play those station heads or those live streams, she's just going for the jugular. They have Milagro where she's
really?
When she's playing, when I guess Tory Lane, there's a lyric where he's saying Mila, Mila, calling me for the scoop. Oh, she's on there loving it, laughing and moaning and talking about how God is good, and because he shouted her out, and you know what I mean, and then calling Megan Thee Stallion, saying that Megan Thee Stallion fucked up Tory's life and fucked up his career. She's a dummy bitch and all kind of shit like that. So I don't know how this is gonna go for her.
Jeez. Hey,
I don't know.
Give me a prediction as we wrap this up. Give me a prediction, my brother.
Let me. You know what? I'm 50-50 with it though. I don't know.
I would like to, if you're available, I'd like to call you tomorrow again.
Yeah, after Meg. Yeah, call me tomorrow after Meg.
No. Hold on. I gotta see where, if you were, you got to go 51% on one side right now, and then tomorrow
all or nothing, because I feel meaning Milagro 51. Because here's the thing, I will lean towards Milagro not getting the max of whatever.
Okay.
I can lean towards that because it's just not clear enough. It's not enough. They're not. Megan Thee Stallion's team is not doing a great job of painting the picture of all the characters, and there are loopholes in it. However, Milagro is not going to be able to get from under that deepfake video, and saying that, and then the fact that Tory Lanez was convicted of, shooting Megan Thee Stallion, her saying that he didn't do it and Megan lied about him doing it. I don't think that that's going to go over well with the jury because he's in jail for it.
Yeah, but let me ask you. I think with a deepfake video, she never tweeted. She said, "Go look at my likes," right? So
you go look at my likes. I mean, come on. Couple that with a couple of live streams. You call me, she an ugly ass bitch saying her mom's an alcoholic and she ain't shit, and her mom's on some bullshit, and that's just her fucking life. She's a lame ass bitch. All that.
Okay. But if she didn't assert, or maybe she did, I don't know. If she didn't assert that the video is 100% real, and she just said,
and she create the video,
yeah, and that too. How much what are you thinking based on kind of like how you're hearing or how they're playing it in terms of the liability for it?
With the deep fake, I feel like they gonna get her because if it were me, you literally said go look at my likes. That's posting it. You liked it and you wanted people to look at it. Like I just feel like any rational person is gonna be like, "Bitch, you promoted it. You did. She promoted that video. She did. If she wouldn't have promoted that video, we wouldn't have been here. They would have been waiting for another moment to hook her. That deep fake video is what's going to fuck her up. It is. That's it. That's the only thing, honestly, that's going to fuck her up. And you notice that was only they sued her for harassment at first. But once they got going, then they started adding on defamation and shit. That's what they really wanted. But they couldn't. They couldn't get her on that. But the deep fake, they was like, we got her. But they had been planning the shit for months. Yeah, so.
I know you're probably trying to be unbiased. Last question. If you could have a outcome that would be within what you desire, where do you want this to end up?
What I desire, here's the thing. For me, it's just tricky because I see faults on both sides. However, because I feel like they are making this more about the Tory Lanez trial, I feel like they're not including everybody. I just feel like I don't know if I want Milagro to lose this case because every time they lose, every time one of us is, we might not realize it, but our voice gets smaller and smaller. Like the reason why we're here is because of Tasha K and Cardi B.
That's
you get what I'm saying?
I agree.
And I'm just like,
I think she wants her moment like that. That's why I think she's going for the lowest hanging fruit, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm just not for that because you got these celebrities that shit. Cardi B threatened me every other fucking day last month.
Wait,
and it's like
Cardi don't like each other?
Absolutely not. Did you not see the shit that she said about me? Fucking went berserk on me. Threatened me.
Oh yeah. Wait.
All because I put out a tweet and said, do people genuinely like Cardi B first, or do they like her after they decide they don't like Nicki? And it got 1 million hits. And so then she went on this fucking rant about how I'm bullying her because I don't fucking agree, or I said she can't rap, but she makes good songs. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like for that reason alone, I just don't like that, it's like big fish. Cardi B fucking, she called the fucking radio station when I was at Angela Yee trying to get me fucking kicked off the air. All kind of shit. Yes.
Hey, I'm cool with Cardi. You want me to squash that beef for you, bro?
No, it's cool. Let me tell you something. The reason why we'll never be cool because she recorded my phone call. And so that's something that you would expect to do. But you record my phone call and send that out to other bloggers to post it on some like, oh, he tried to be my friend. I don't respect that because I will never, like, if me and you got on the phone off the record, I'm not going to record your phone call. And I have recordings from her that I've never put out and I never will do. You get what I'm saying? So I just feel like it's just a violation. Recording phone calls is whack as fuck. So I'm good. But I'm just saying, I just don't want to see more of us be stripped of our voice because people see that we make money. They see that we have a platform and we're not controlled by like traditional media and we can't be bought. And we're doing this shit from our homes and we create our own businesses. And many times we make even the same amount or more money than a lot of these people that we cover. And they want to take that from us if we're not kissing the ring. And I just don't feel like we should have to do that.
And by the way, this is what I always thought about the Cardi B and Tasha K thing. I didn't necessarily, the only part, the part that I really agreed with Cardi on, like, I didn't know that Tasha K was saying that she had like incurable diseases. Like,
yeah, that's too far.
That's crazy. Like, you're going too far. You know what I mean? Like, again, it's like, even with like, obviously we're kind of still in that Me Too, like new Me Too rap era. There's people accused of stuff. Like if someone came out and said Jay-Z is a blah, 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 let's not even say the term, based on that lawsuit, which clearly was frivolous, this and third, and you're standing on it like you have actual proof. Hey, I mean, if you get sued, like it's hard for like not saying we should be unionizing, but it's hard for like everybody to be like, oh no, we got your back. Like, dog, certain stuff is too crazy. Now, if you're like, hey, listen, I think this person's a bitch. This person is not nice. They're not pleasant to be around. I don't like their music. I don't like them. I think all that's fair game, right? All that's fair game. I think even if you're saying I think this person is dumb, I think that's fine. It's a certain type of particular targeted attacks that I would
like you can't put out like a person's on drugs, a person's health status, things like that is just too far. But not like in their music, and I don't even talk about people's body and shit. Like I don't even get into that. But like not like in their music or saying their personality is a particular kind of way. I don't think that is considered bullying, and especially when it comes to an algorithm thing. You've been on YouTube longer than me. You have to feed the beast. If you're talking about female rap, and that's what YouTube is going to. They're going to ignite, they're going to, notify your subscribers when you post female rap content, because that's when, the algorithm shows and analytics shows they watch. If I go and start talking about how fucking beautiful Miami is today, when I go live for that video, it's not going to send any notifications. But if I do a female rap topic, my audience is going to be notified, because that's how the algorithm recognizes my people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like these celebrities make it seem like, oh, you just talk about me. You just talk about me. It's like, well, that's what the algorithm feeds. It's not that I just want to talk about you, but shit, that's just what people want to hear about.
Yeah.
And I just think that I don't think that it's fair to make it seem like we're harassing these celebrities, because these celebrities what I've learned is in this business where I used to want to be friends with them, but I realized all these motherfuckers will use you to push their narrative. They don't give a fuck about you, and they don't give anything back. And then the minute that you realize that and you start moving for self, then you become the fucking enemy. And it's like, no, I don't have to agree with you. That's why I don't want celebrities to follow me. You don't have to shout me out, because I don't want to be binded to this invisible contract to where I have to love everything you do. And then when I don't like something, I'm a hater.
Yeah.
No,
100%.
Yeah. 100%. So it's just the game. It's the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see y'all cool now, but I feel like she needed you because there's not nobody else. So I was like, oh yeah, she's cool with that now, because I guess Kyle's back over there. But for a minute, y'all were not cool, and then she picked you back up. Because she had no fucking body.
No. Well, I don't. Well, first of all, I think I stay out of like. I think what I've realized about only one time me and Cardi's ever, and it was really quick. I don't even think the public knew about it. I think I told him about it. I said me and most artists like relationships started out with like an argument. And I remember I forgot we were arguing about something. It was really early in her career, because at first I think she appreciated my support, but then I remember she had DM'd me like kind of talking crazy, and then we started talking crazy back, and then we got on the phone, and then we came to a mutual place. It's always been cool since then, but I think the reason why she genuinely realized that she cares about the people that care about the Barb and Barty stuff. Like my platform don't really give a fuck about that. Like we might talk about it sometimes, but we don't get into the weeds with that. And I think our commonplace was she's like, yo, Ak, you're just a nigga. You know what I mean? Like, and like respectfully, like I think she looks at you like you're gonna cover some of the topics that are gonna be a little bit more messier in terms of the female world. Like me, I'm gonna be like, bro, I just don't give a fuck, right? But if it's some rap shit, I definitely will, right? And I think she's able to, because she's hit me a bunch of times like, yeah, nah, Akademiks, like I can't believe you said that, but it's always like friendly, because she realized I think the other stuff really triggers her, honestly. Like,
well, yeah, because I'm deep in there. I'm deep all the way there. That's my whole lane. So, I'll have shit going viral off a fucking tweet, and it's like, I'm not an ally anymore. But the thing is, it was all good when, I was living for everything you did. You feel me? So I don't care. It is what it is. I don't have no beef. I just don't respect it. Cause I just feel like, here's the thing. I feel like you can't talk all this shit about Nicki when you guys are the same person. You just know how to play the social game better.
You think they're the same person?
I think they're the same person. I just think that she knows how to play the front facing game better.
You think
Nicki's just?
I think Nicki's mean spirited, which is always the thing that always like.
But Cardi B is fake.
You think
She will literally laugh in your face and talk shit about you. Yes. And she's calculated as fuck. Like, you don't really know how she really feels about you. At least Nicki, you're going to know that I don't like you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Cardi B will act like she likes you and fucking can't stand your guts.
Damn.
Like, I don't know. Like, that's just how I be. That's just how I feel. But, you know, I just feel like they're the same people. They're both they both have God complexes. They both don't really like, you know, critiques. Like, but that's just women in general, though. So I just stay clear. You know, I've been dragged by every fucking female rapper, so it's cool. You know, it is what it is. I'm the fucking female version of you. I get fucking trashed. It got to the point where Offset was fucking threatening me in my DMs.
For real?
Yeah, just fucking threatened me.
Bro, like respect. Like you're when it comes to like your world, like I feel like you're like the number one guy though, right?
Of course, absolutely.
Ever since Jason Lee went packing to be a mayor, like it's you. Like you're the kingpin, and like I think Tasha K is kind of like there, but like it's you. Like bro, like you were going crazy for the Diddy stuff. You know what I mean? Which shows that like the world that you kind of operate and kind of disseminate news is bigger than just like, you know, there's some bloggers that they only cover like 2 artists or like 3 artists.
Yeah.
Like you have an audience that might be interested in those 2 or 3 artists, but they'll listen to you talk about a lot of shit, which I think that's the dope part.
Yeah, I think that's the dope part too. And I just feel like, obviously I'm gay, so it's like, we like girls. I'm not going to talk about the fucking war in Chirac. However, I am going to go cover the little Dirk trial. But, you know, I talk about the female rappers.
Shit, I'm going to need you to call in.
Yeah, I'm definitely hitting that up in February or January, whenever that shit starts.
Wait, so are you like perpetually just on the road? Because like, bro, you were out here in New York for the Diddy shit. You're down there in Miami now, and you're gonna go to LA for the Drake stuff.
Well, I live in LA, but I wasn't gonna do this shit. But my audience was like, "We want you to cover this, Megan, because no one is like really like telling it in a way where it's entertaining." Megan Kuniff is doing it, but she's like a reporter. But it's like. It still doesn't have the storytelling element. So
thank you. I'm glad you're saying that, and that's what I remember Rock Nation asking me about, like Milagro, and I'm like, listen, you guys want us to like this quote unquote what a journalist is. We want some soul. We want some spunk. Yeah. We want some. Hey, listen, like whether it's Milagro saying, well, child, I seen so and so. She started sighing. She started patting her head. Like we want those details that you're just not gonna get from those square journalists that are just like
you're just not gonna get it. You're
not. Like we're trying to get real color commentary with honesty, right? And also like those people that we end up watching, we kind of trust their vision. Right.
Well, I was going to tell you that your people follow you because they trust you more than they trust a traditional news outlet. And even for me, I feel like by the time people get to me, I'm not here to be Megan Kuniff or to be CNN or Fox News, because my thing is you guys can go read that. You guys can go watch that. Y'all, by the time you get to me, you know the story, but y'all going to listen to me tell the story in my way where it's more digestible, where you're not feeling like, fuck, I'm going to court or I'm watching the news. That's not my way of doing it. I like my people to escape reality when they watch me, and they can just have that hour, that 2 hours where they don't have to think about their fucking problems and the drama that they got going on in their life. But for me, anyways, my people, we raised like $1,000 in like 50 minutes for me to fly out here. I was like, all right, if you guys buy my ticket right now, I'll fly to Miami tonight. And they dropped $1,000, and I was like, fuck it, I'll fly out. And so I just took a red-eye flight Monday and just came and covered the case. Fuck it.
Hey, let me tell you, and let me give you your flowers. I've in most times I listen to, like tidbits or snippets of your commentary on whatever subject, and it always comes across based in someone that's thinking for themselves, someone that's not just like blindly going off whatever agenda, and you're actively trying to figure out what the angle is, which is usually indicative to me that it's a honest content creator trying to give their best opinion or their most informed opinion to an audience that they believe that they know trust them. So, salute to you, bro.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I appreciate you. You know, I've always been a fan since 2017. Do you remember? Or we'll talk later on the back end. But anyway,
Yo,
I'll get
first
to it
off, I
tomorrow.
got to do an interview with you. I'm so mad we didn't do an interview.
Well, you was busy, and then I was hitting you up, and then you wasn't answering, and then I got super fucking busy with the Trump because the baby oil shit hit, and then your assistant was calling me, and I was fucking going super viral across the fucking world.
Oh, yeah,
I had to go on a fucking press tour and an apology tour. So it was fucked up, man. I couldn't do shit. I was like, fuck, you know, and then my audience, they started unfollowing me and threatening me after I posted the picture of me, you, and Myron, because they were like,
shit.
if you fucking do a podcast with Myron, you're done.
Yeah.
And they started pulling back their support and stopped spending their money. So I had to tell Myron, I can't do this podcast with you, nigga. I can't do it.
Hey, at the conclusion of this, hopefully, you know, if it's hopefully it's a favorable outcome or something like that. And I'm saying favorable on my side in the sense of I'm rooting for Milagro, like, you know, unapologetically. And maybe
your chat is wild. These things is crazy. Your chat, but go ahead. Sorry.
Maybe we could all do something like in Miami and like really kind of like really speak about this really in a.
Are you and Milagro cool? Because me and her are not cool. She don't like me anymore.
Oh, she don't like you?
No, but we used to be friends though. But I mean, I don't hate her though. But I feel like y'all not cool no more either because you didn't give her the 15K.
Yeah, no.
You kind of pump faked on her with the 15K.
No, I was definitely about to. No, and this is gonna sound because it's always gonna sound funny.
What happened with that? Why did you make that announcement and you didn't give her the money?
Okay,
she was struggling for a minute.
Because trust me, the reason why I'm even covering this is because I still believe in the same thing that I spoke about when I was speaking about and supporting her. So when that happened, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think there was a slight mixing of, you know, I think there was miscommunication. So there was two things that happened. The first was miscommunication, right? In February, there was this whole thing. They were like, yo, Ak is trying to groom a 15-year-old boy, which was clearly cap. But it was just like the whole internet's running with this thing because I'm like joking with this fucking kid while I'm playing Fortnite. And I remember like at the same time when everybody's taking this opportunity because everybody's saying, we finally got Ak. He's done. Like, yo, we thought we had him with this. We thought we had him with that. We thought we had him with this. We thought we had him with that. We never got him. We finally got him. I seen people like almost like trying to jump out, like saying, fuck if this is overblown. We finally got him. And again, I think, this I said miscommunication. I remember Milagro, it felt like she was playing off of like, because I was trending for like a week, my nigga. I felt like she was playing off like the virality of Ak 15-year-old, and she said, yo, Ak, what about that 15 though? And I was just like, Milagro, please don't try to kick my back in during the time that I don't even need allies.
She does that. She did that to me.
Yo,
that's what we fell out.
I was thinking, I don't even need allies. I just don't need people just trying to add fuel to the fire or throwing dirt on what y'all might think is my grave, right? And at that point, I said, you know what? I'm going to back up in sense of, I'm not going to give her the money now. And I'm like, maybe if things change or whatever the case is, then as more time goes on, I'm not going to lie. Legally, it became a thing where I couldn't have a transaction, period, with Milagro because...
Oh, because y'all was too convoluted with the Tory shit, like, yeah.
That's what they were subpoenaing. By the way, I turned over all my information. The only money ever transferred to Milagro, actually none transferred to Milagro. I bought her a flight from, I forgot where she was staying at, to Miami. I paid for a hotel room, and I think we may have sent her Uber. That's it. I've never sent her $1 for food. I've never sent her $1 for an opinion. I've never sent her $1 to say something pro or against Tory. And by the time it got to them serving me subpoenas, I had to keep everything clear. Like, again, I've never spoken to Sunstar a day in my life.
So does she know that's why you couldn't send her the 15K? Because I think she was heated about that.
I don't know, but I will say me and her have spoken.
Somebody said she even tweeted you and you turned a blind eye. Because I remember she added you and said, I need the 15K.
Yeah, I'll say this.
You goon.
I spoke to her 2 days ago. I spoke to her 2 days ago, and I spoke to her because her lawyer reached out. They said, hey, the person, it's not Meg's team don't want me on the stand. I gave them belt to ass in a depot. I would make them look like fools. I would show up to court just if they wanted. Because I'm like, I'd really give you out of work in court.
Are you in Miami? You live in Miami or New York?
No, Jersey. But I was in Miami, and I was thinking about staying because I was anyway. So her lawyers had called me. And they were saying, "Hey, we wanted to talk about the deposition." And I didn't want to talk to her lawyers. I wanted to talk to her directly. And I did. I called Milagro, and I said, "Milagro, I support you." And I know we haven't spoken because obviously a lot of legal stuff got involved, and they're trying to subpoena every contact we've had, and we haven't had any inappropriate contact. But I didn't want to, kind of add on to what they have an ongoing investigation, like we're colluding. So that probably also strained it. Plus, I don't know if I got into the whole thing about how I felt about the thing with when she tweeted that, but I told her, I said, if you really, really need me, I will come testify. But I don't think you need me. And I'm going to give you the reasons why. I think, number one, Rock Nation don't got a case. They had 8 hours of speaking to me, and I guarantee nothing that they have of me will be useful to prove anything against you. And here's the thing. Anything you guys need of me, right? Obviously, I'm rooting for y'all, but I'm just not a liar. I'm just always going to tell the truth. Anything y'all might want to ask of me or how you think I can help your case, I guarantee it's listed in that 8 hours. They've asked me every question, or I elaborated more than necessary on every question. Just use the deposition. And the reason why I said use the deposition, I said if I did 8 hours and they're shook and I knew they wasn't going to use much of my shit. No, don't put me on the stand thinking I'm going to super help you, also giving them another crack at talking to me, and it not turn out in your favor. So whatever questions you could think of asking me, I already answered. Just use the depo. But if you really, really want to, right? If you really, really want to, if you really, really want to, I'll show up. And I don't know, if they need me, I'll see. But from what I'm seeing from you guys covering the trial, I don't think.
Or just come out here, but you need to be out here tomorrow because it's Vegas tomorrow.
I wouldn't show up there because of the stunt I told you they pulled with Aiden Ross. Now I see there's a couple of pages there's a few pages that's really misinformed. There's one called opinion something. I could tell their name is exactly what it is. It got to be just their opinion. They're very misinformed. Nobody's spooked of necessarily Meg Thee Stallion or obviously Rock Nation has a lot of money to spend, which clearly no one willingly wants to spend legal fees. But if it's gonna be what it is, the reason why I made a video at the airport, I was already leaving. The reason why I said that was they pulled a stunt on Aiden Ross. Aiden Ross did the depo, but after I spanked him out for 8 hours and they realized this is not a good look, they came prepared. They didn't want the depo from Aiden. They knew Aiden didn't know Milagro. They served Aiden with a subpoena when he showed up for his phone to see conversations with a few people they felt were the money guys on Tory's team. Right? That's all they wanted. They didn't care what Aiden said. And in fact, when they got the depo, when they got so they served them with a subpoena. When they served them with a subpoena, they went through the messages, and half of the depo was him explaining the messages. So they had nothing. See, so the point I'm trying to say is that you're talking about people who are working a case that are still trying to investigate the case. So leave them to their own devices. They can't prove anything. So why give them anything more? Or for me, why go into the lion's den? So again, I would love to see Meg up there, with the fake tears. But I don't want to go there with them trying to have
be set up,
to have these stunts because they don't have anything. Again, they used what do you call it again? They used Aiden's depo, right? They used Aiden's depo where he's speaking about the subpoena they served at the depo where they're looking at conversation with Aiden and some other guy they believe is close to Tory, which, by the way, that guy's not is no way the guy that would be doing that type of stuff if it was to be done. But whatever, they're using that, and I believe they either introduced it or tried to introduce it in the case, because I was reading some of the transcripts. But it just shows you they're doing last minute investigations. They told the judge Akademiks is a very important witness. And they said, well, do you plan to call him? And they said then, no.
Yeah, I was pissed. I thought you were coming in today. I thought we were going to see you on the stand.
They can't do nothing with me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, like, again, I realize the problem here is that it's an abuse of the court system. They're still investigating a case that they're supposed to be proven currently. And they're trying to use and introduce, like, by the way, I don't know if you were there for all the days. You let me know if all that stuff was admitted, because from what I hear, the stuff that they got from Aiden's phone wasn't properly turned over to Milagro's team.
I didn't see the Aiden stuff.
Court doesn't work like that.
I got there when you were on the screen.
Yeah, court doesn't work like that. You can't just introduce a bunch of text messages you got 2 days before trial starts and say, "Hey, we got new evidence." No, there's a discovery process where you both share information. So again, I'm telling you, they're still investigating this case as if they don't have enough. Like they're looking for a smoking gun. Now, granted, there's no smoking gun to get with me. I lost my phone. I don't know what device I'm talking to you on. But listen, they weren't going to get nothing from me regardless. But I'm just not going to go there because I could tell it's desperate times for them. And I could imagine the amount of money Megan's paid them. They need to come up with some results, and they're trying to save themselves from drowning real fast.
Okay, before I go, can you say what you feel happened, or do you know what happened at the shooting? Did she get shot? Did Kelsey shoot? What do you know what happened, or can you not say?
I'm not in none of these proceedings. I've been said it from day one. I think that Meg was beating Kelsey's ass, and Kelsey was trying to shoot her. Tory goes trying to grab the gun from her, and the gun goes off over a struggle 5 times. 3 at first, then 2 after. Tory can't admit that he touched the gun, because if he touched the gun, he's going to be found guilty no matter what, right? Because what he's technically charged for is the discharge of the firearm. If your hand is on the weapon, that would be what that is. So he can't admit that.
But why don't you testify to save your fucking life? So you don't even try to fight for your life?
I think it's stupid. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was stupid that Tory didn't take the stand. But I do think that Tory felt that there were going to be... I think he thought Kelsey was going to save him, honestly. As crazy as that sounds. And I think Kelsey muddied the waters a bit, but she was very cognizant of her perjuring herself, and she stopped multiple times, and especially when they said, hey, we got this other recording, which you said to the detectives, she made sure she got some immunity before she went up there. And I think after that, Tory made a lot of missteps. I love Tory, but how does Jaquan show up the last day? How does he not show up and say, I'm the only sober one that night? Tory didn't shoot. How does he write a letter? And why even write a letter if you're going to say, I didn't see when the shots got fired? What are you trying to say, brother? You're the only sober one, and you're saying you're the only one who didn't see it. We're assuming Tory saw it. Kelsey says she saw it. And Meg says she saw it. All 3 of them are drunk. The one sober person submits a letter in the appeal process and still doesn't say he saw shit. Also, he's missing the entire trial, shows up with one of the last
day.
Come on. Tory gets he gets a favorable they get a favorable statement from Sean Kelly. Nothing is actually, you could actually do somewhat of a deposition in a criminal case. You don't memorialize his statements that when he gets to court, he can't switch it up, which he did. He said, I saw the short guy firing the gun now. goes against what he said to the police, goes against what, Tory's team called him as a witness. He must have talked to Tory's team somehow. The last day before he supposedly goes upstairs, allegedly either speaks with the prosecutors or whatever, comes back down, he's a new man. It's like, get out. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, you hit the mug and get out. The dude looked like he's now scared of the prosecutors, and he's singing a different tune. So again, there's a lot of mistakes in this. I don't believe Tory just shot this woman. But I don't think Tory's team did a great enough job, and I don't think Tory himself took it upon himself to say, fuck all this shit. I'm going to speak for myself and say what exactly happened. This is not snitching. This is me doing what's right and making sure that I don't go to jail.
All right. Well, I'll hit you tomorrow. I'll text you and see what's up. So I'll let you know what's going on if Megan hits the stand.
All right. Definitely. Hit me, bro.
All right. Peace out.
All right,
bye.
Peace. Shout out to Armon. Anyway, enough Tory talk. We're done. All right, people. That was a good stream. I'm out of here. You imagine if I was just like, yo. Imagine I was like, yo, I'm out of here. Yo, how mad would y'all be if I'm like, all right, well, that's a good stream. I'm out of here.